Sure. My name is Angel Walker.
Erectile dysfunction is one of the causes of marital breakups. But do you know, we have a solution.
Welcome back from the break, and while the Sunrise crew is here, of course, to brighten up your day, bringing you the latest information. Ebitupindi bade bibawo mu Uganda atenga tugenda kuba tukuletera ekintu ekimu ekikulu ennyo kye tulaba nti kyatandika mu mwezi ogwa January 2025 era nga abantu abasinga they have been victims, some of them have been isolated, and you could be wondering what is this. Well, according to World Health Organization 2010, they revealed a report of Uganda being one of the top 50 countries that is endemic to very many viruses. We have seen Ebola, we have seen mpox, we have seen different kinds of Ebola viruses. And in January 2025, we saw the Ministry of Health coming out and saying there is a Sudan Ebola virus, where we saw a nurse succumbing to this virus, and after seeking medical attention from so many health care facilities, she passed away due to this virus having grown in her body. So today we'll be looking and exploring into that direction, and we saw that World Health Organization in the same line came out through Daily Monitor and spoke about the travel restriction that is yet to be implemented due to the rising cases of Ebola viruses in Uganda. We have seen some people isolated, we have seen videos going around, so we are having two epidemic cases or different diseases that are happening in Uganda. I'm talking about Ebola, I'm talking about mpox. These two are working hand in hand, but one is more deadly than the other, and we will be exploring that today with the team on set. So stay tuned on the best way how you can safeguard yourself against this virus. And well, in case you want to let us know your thoughts and any questions, you can use the number that is scrolling on your screen, that is 0746405060, or tag us on our social media handles. We'll be reading some of those comments that will be coming in. And well, here's the Sunrise crew, friends. Good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome back.
Thank you.
I love the energy today.
Can you flower?
But Susan, let me ask you, is your body immunity prone to falling sick, or you have a strong immunity?
You as you.
Apparently, I think right now here I have the strongest amongst us here. So I believe I have a strong immunity. Yes. Yeah.
What was your determinant on that?
I had get sick.
You had get sick?
Yes,
okay.
I had get sick.
All right, let's move to G. G, how is your immunity? Because they're always swallowing some tablets.
Do you know those people who have that one thing that disturbs them?
Breaks you.
Yeah, that breaks you. Flu is my weakness. And so if you have, this one is here posing around and showing off. And she doesn't fall sick, but she has an irritation on her throat.
But that's the first time.
She has an irritation on her throat. And I would like to let you know, guys, that if I fall sick, it will be because Sue has spread it to me, and that is my weakness. But now you're telling us that you don't fall sick.
All right, let's say from Stuart. Stuart, how's your immunity? Well, mine is a bit, mine is weak.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, mine is really, really
Mine
weak.
is medium, really. But once it is, once I have such people near me, I can easily pick up a
You're prone
bag.
to getting it. Yes.
I guess I really have a fairly good immunity. Actually, I have a good immunity, yes.
Jen, I feel attacked.
You sure?
Yeah.
Sorry.
By you.
Okay.
How did you guys take in the news that was shared by the Ministry of Health? That is, of course, Dr. Diana Twine.
Yes.
Yes. So how did you guys take in that news when she came out in January and said, hey, we have one Sudan Ebola case here? How did you people get into panic mode? Were you people okay? And they're like, oh, that always happens in Uganda.
Me personally, I was a bit scared.
Okay.
A bit. Because after they told us about the nurse who had gotten sick, the places they had gone to, the people they had interacted with.
Yes.
And remember, we use public means a lot.
Yeah.
And So my worry was, what if I come across someone, maybe in a taxi, who is infected, or we do a lot of handshaking.
Yeah.
Yes.
Someone could be carrying it actually, and you do a handshake with someone
in church.
in church. I even thought that maybe since this had been aired, church would come up with some means to tell us, tell us you're going to do this and this, but you realize nothing stopped. Stuff kept going on. So I was a bit worried, but eventually I moved.
But you know, the thing about giving information, especially about pandemics in Uganda that has been longest affected,
the epidemics,
especially in the corona and the lockdown. So when such issues are communicated by the Ministry of Health, number one, Ugandans think about a lockdown, and that is
quarantine.
what, and quarantine, and all these border
restrictions.
You in that same report, Kasanda district was locked down at some point, and these things, the restrictions that come up because of the pandemics, is what disturbs me personally, because I could be in Kampala, but I have clients in Kasanda. So now if there is a total lockdown, no one comes out, no one goes in. So the restrictions is what I think about the moment such a pandemic is announced.
And you know, they come when you're not prepared.
Exactly.
Wow, I love these great insights being shared today on the show. Yes, Stuart, let me hear from you. When the Ministry of Health, that is Dr. Diana, came out and said we have a Sudan Ebola virus, what was you? Did you panic? Did you say Joe? And how did you react?
No, you can't say Joe.
I mean, to a layman.
Yeah, you can't say Joe if you really care about your life and your well-being, because for the fact that there is a proposed lockdown again, or locking down of a restriction of transport. So bobango oli muntu akola business and you're leaving really. Obera concerned. I was also concerned because when you look at the 164 cases that happened in only 2022 and 77 deaths.
This is Uganda or another country?
Yes, this is Uganda. 77 deaths. So it means it's something that you have to be concerned about because it can escalate anytime, really. Yes.
Friends, I love today's topic, and let's explore one of the most core things. Why is it Uganda is always having this epidemics, or it's an endemic country, you know, according to World Health Organization? Because now you see we have Sudan Ebola virus, then we have Bundibujo. You know, in my head I was trying to think that these people like give them names, or each virus has its own kind of identity. You know, what do you think?
I think most of the biggest reason, I think, it's proximity to the DRC.
From being close to the DRC.
Being close to the DRC, where actually there have been many Ebola outbreaks, a number of them. So us being close to the DRC, but now also us being close to the Sudan, and us sharing a border with the Sudan, where the Sudan Ebola has come from. I think it's one of the causes, but also frequent interaction with wildlife. Yes, because we have a number of forests and we have is it called the fauna? Yes, we have so much in Uganda. So that interaction, also when you look at the fruit bats, the fruit bats, those fruit bats that actually cause Ebola, or that transport Ebola viruses. I think that kind of interaction also exposes us to the risk of having high cases of Ebola.
But also one of the main is human to human transmission. Because it's transmitted through body liquids like sweat. Here we do a lot of handshaking when we are greeting, and you are there are actually not even high chances you are going to get infected if you come across such a person and you interact with them and you get some of those body fluids, maybe sweat, because you know there are people who sweat in their hands.
Yes, in their palms.
Yeah, in their palms. So when you interact with such a person, you're most likely to get sick. And then also the health settings. We have inadequate infection preventions in some places. Now, if these things are not enough, it's easily going to be transmitted from one person to another and to another.
But talking about that, there is a report on 30th September 2022 that was aired on an international newscast, and it says that the population density and ease of mobility, which including internationally, means the virus can easily travel through an uninfected but asymptomatic patient within a short period of time, because it is easy for us to move border to border, Congo to Uganda, Congo to South Sudan, Uganda to South Sudan, and even internationally. So anyone who is asymptomatic can easily spread this because of the ease of movement and mobility, and that is where now that a threat also came in, where in the Daily Monitor, where there is already a threat to hold onto the, or even to control the movement, and of course their reactions, but because of the easy mobility.
And I think because of the symptoms, maybe they're not so visible. They take some time to come out. Now, Jane here could be having Ebola, but when we don't know, and these things of touching her, actually we can all get affected, because I don't know where you pass, you don't know where I pass.
And maybe you look so serious, like your eyes are widened and you are involved.
No, I'm giving an example. I'm not attacking
that
you.
Is on me.
But actually, it's one of the reasons, or it's one of the ways people get infected. I may not know that you have, and easily transmit it to other people.
Stuart, you had mentioned something that 160 cases in 2022, and G, that report that you also showed. We seem to see these cases keep coming every 2 years, 1 year, like. Don't we have enough medication, or are we not really getting rid of this? What do you think could
Awareness.
be
Awareness. People are not, Sue has been mentioning it and saying that one of us
could be carrying
it. But because we feel we are in safe spaces and we have not been told that, or even it has not been educated to us that be aware of even your neighbor, because your spouse can come out, can come back home with it, and because they are your spouse, you're like, oh well, it's okay. But you know, all these things is because of the little awareness that is around. And do you know that awareness is mainly taken deep down to a specific type of people? For example, in the slums, in the ghettos, and they forget that even the upper town people, they actually need this awareness to get to them.
But Jane, you know also the stigma that surrounds it. Like if someone came out in Agamba, I have Ebola, that people would fear.
They flee.
Yeah, they fear, because they're going to isolate you. And Jane, like what the ministry did, that when that person, wherever he passed, they went back tracing those places, and they had to quarantine them. God forbid, if you had it, you may not tell us.
Fire.
Because you know there will be stigma.
And that mental confusion.
And would also be scared, because I mean the whole place would be rounded up, like would definitely have to get into quarantine. So many people may not speak up, and this is going to the spread is going to increase. It's going to increase from one person to another.
You know, before someone like continues to develop this virus in their body, there are also some symptoms attached to it. You know, the other day I was looking at it and I realized that when someone has consistent vomiting, consistent body rashes, consistent diarrhea, that outlet, and also when it reaches that extreme point of you having blood coming out from your nose, your eyes, your ears, you know, that is like close to a death point. Because I was speaking to one of the Red Cross community-based volunteers and trainer, and he was telling me how when you reach that point of where blood is coming out of your body,
that's too much.
You are you just imagine all the openings of your body. So you are at a critical state of not recovering from this Ebola
And what
virus.
are the quick ones, the easy symptoms?
The
before
easy
you get
symptoms,
into
you
blood?
can even look feeling tired.
Yes.
And these
weakness.
days, by the way, it's very common, feeling very tired.
Actually.
Yes, feeling very tired is one of the symptoms that...
Tired, not exhausted.
Exhausted, tired,
Body weakness.
That so those are some of the things that can trigger you to know that maybe...
And you
I
know,
think you're speaking about that weakness where when you sit, you feel like standing up is a real
It's maybe I don't even know, but feeling tired is one of the symptoms that are in a report, and having headaches. But of course, just like
And
you
now
are saying,
because they sound normal,
Yes.
you might ignore it.
exactly, Kato,
You be
there is
like, I
this
have a-
tiredness where you even have a headache, and you say,
I'm
let me sleep a bit.
actually, these symptoms are actually grouped in days.
Okay.
So when you look at day 1 to day 7, you'll omuntu atandika okuwulira some fever.
Fever, yeah.
Kakati bw'obeera n'omuntu ewaka nga kugamba nti awulira omusujja or they are feeling feverish, it
For
can be
7 days.
no gundi like from day 1 to day 7, these are the possible symptoms omuntu zagenda
and
okufuna.
signs.
So if someone is feeling feverish and they are at a temperature of 38 degrees Celsius to or maybe 101 degrees Fahrenheit, omuntu wabanga ayina that severe headache, omanye omuntu ogwo ogutagenda that kind of severe headache and muscle pain. So now where you differentiate the body weakness from the normal one is omuntu awuliranga they are feeling so tired but they are also feeling muscle pain.
And those are like signs for fever actually.
Yes, so when someone is telling you they are feeling like that, don't ignore it. Probably it could be a symptom of Ebola. Of course, omuntu watandika okufuna that sore throat. That's so.
There's a suspect.
Yeah. So if someone starts feeling fatigued and they feel this nausea, this dizziness, it could be also a symptom. And those are the symptoms from day 1 to day 7. Now from day 7 to day 14, if bwolabanga omuntu symptoms zino oba emu ku zino persistence for 7 days, natandika okusesema and having this diarrhea. Sometimes of course it's kind of bloody. It's one of the symptoms. Now it's escalating. So abdominal pain, omuntu galuma olubuto, and skin rashes that are consistent, bleeding. Yeah, of course you talked about it, but bleeding, that is now from in the second week literally, from the gums, from the nose, from the eyes.
So what span are we talking about here?
Now we are talking about 7 days still. Now from day 7 to day 14.
It's like a cycle.
Yes, it's a cycle. So it has escalated from the first week. Now in the second week, bolabanga, they are getting these other symptoms. Now omanya kasitachitandiko involving bleeding. Of course, now
Then there's a talinda bleeding.
you shouldn't wait, but oyinza okubanga obadde ojjanjaba omuntu ogamba abadde awulya buwulizi musujja. Yes.
You know that some of them are these people who even self-medicate.
Exactly. Nagamba tujja kumula okukwata mateeko kubanga ayina malaria.
Now,
So
well, I don't know, you're still continuing.
no. That is it.
Okay, now we also need to note that the Disease Control Center, it says that there are key points to note. And these are Ebola disease symptoms appear between 2 to 21 days. That is what Stuart was trying to say, that it is grouped in days. So by day 2, you already can feel that you are not well.
Yes.
You are not well. Now, Ebola disease symptoms appear between 2 to 21 days after someone has been exposed to the virus. Let us also understand that a virus is very different from a bacterial infection. Kubanga ebiseera ebisinga ffe batugamba eyo infection, but a virus is more serious than an infection, and a virus can be spread through air. Through contamination. A bacterial infection is in your blood. So let us try to understand the magnitude of these things. Now, it also, the disease center also says that dry symptoms like fever and weaknesses occur first. Dry symptoms like fever and weakness. You remember the weakness we've talked about here? They first occur, and then later it progresses into wet symptoms like diarrhea and vomiting. Now, by the time that day Stewart has said that 7 days, the second week, you are already weak and you're vomiting and you have diarrhea. Now, due to the non-specific symptoms, Ebola disease, Mpox disease can be confused with most infectious diseases
because of the similar signs. That is why we have tried to show you that you can have the signs of the symptoms, signs and symptoms of the Ebola or the Mpox, and then you confuse it with the regular infection. And also infection katono antibiotics. This
generation loves self-medication thing is the number one killer thing around us. We've been talking about these things and saying what even escalates it. Katigwenogena nogula antibiotics, wrong medication.
On that same line, I would like to ask you a question. I've seen doctors tell patients not to sleep when they have they're in a certain condition. And why is it that we get strange dreams when we are sick?
I think they call them hallucinations.
Hallucinations, yes. I think they are common. I don't know. I think it is
depends
really
on the type of medicine. Actually.
But also it's because someone is unwell physically. Even their soul is kind of connected, and they will start now having these dreams because of the way they are feeling. So it even affects their mental faculty, and that's why they start hallucinating, really.
Wow, quite interesting, wonderful discussions. I'm quite sure that the viewers are looking out on how to safeguard themselves and also to differentiate these infections and the Ebola virus, as you have really given them a distinction. But of course, moving on with this discussion that we have, do you think our health facility in Uganda or Department or Ministry of Health has helped us to a greater deal in terms of mitigating this kind of epidemics?
Yes, I want to believe the Ministry of Education, it is one of the most effective ministries that is in this nation, because we have seen, so talked about quarantines, but we have also seen them gazetting of specific areas
that have been infected.
Yes, that have been infected, but also putting up and putting up centers where every person that has been infected is taken to this particular facility, not even to a hospital. No, they are taken to these particular facilities that have been gazetted for that kind of and by the way, when they are in those particular gazetted areas, you find even the doctors are well geared and protected. And on top of that, in there, in those facilities, they are also divided. They are the critical cases that are dealt with. They are minute, and then there are those that are just coming. And then I also like the way they do it. In case of any death, the Ministry of Health goes ahead to bury these bodies.
They won't allow
the
the
loved ones to get to it, so that they can contain it. Sometimes our culture says that we should be able
to traditional
what they do not allow. They bury those dead bodies in a gazetted area where they are supposed to be buried.
I want to believe
also on top of that, they sensitize
yes
a lot because remember when the first case came out, they made sure we all get to know about it. They do enough sensitization. I want to believe it's enough.
And the hotline numbers they usually give us.
They try to show you that they are easily reachable. And even for those that cannot read, they go ahead to put up those pictures. How to describe how this disease is. Remember even in school, we had I think the 7 diseases.
Yes.
Now that when Ebola came, we're not shocked. Yes, we knew how a person with Ebola is. They try to sensitize us that even someone who cannot read or someone who cannot talk, when they see that visual image that shows how Ebola symptoms are, they can easily recognize it. They can easily tell, okay, there is an outbreak of this.
Yes.
And they can know how best to go about it.
I believe, I really want to believe the Ministry of Health has really done a good job, because when you look at the records of the subsequent years of the Ebola cases that happened, you look at 2000 to 2001 outbreak, the Sudan virus, which was the largest in Uganda's history, of course, and of course it was in Gulu, Masindi, Mbarara districts. Cases confirmed were 425 and the deaths were 224.
Oh, that
was the worst in history of Uganda.
Wow.
Yes. In 2007, which was in the Bundibujo virus, the first ever recorded in Bundibujo, the cases were 131 and the deaths were 42. Only 42 deaths. You see that improvement. They were curbing it down. And in 2011, of course, it was still the Sudan virus, and this was termed the limited spread. Why? Because it was curbed immediately. There was only one case of Ebola and only one death.
Wow.
Then when you look at 2012, the next year, there were 2 separate incidences still on the Sudan virus, and there was only there were 24 cases. And there were 17 deaths.
It shows a sequence of how, and I also think that the Ministry of Health has got to a place where they prepare of catastrophic or unexpected incidences of these outbreaks. But well, getting back to this report where World Health Organization was advising against travel restrictions, one of the key things is that it gives $2 million to the Ministry of Health to be able to fight this epidemic. So it came out and said, hey, we are advising to impose travel restrictions over the outbreak, because the Ministry of Health also reported 6 new cases actually this particular Monday, meaning that the virus is continuing to grow. Yes, and so we need to look out and protect ourselves.
And to some point realize, I think it's a bit hard to know or to trace where these people have passed. So that's why the number has increased. But if you look at the speed that it's moving, it's a bit reduced. It's not as high, because I remember, when did this first case come out?
It was in
January, and the first case was actually found in Kampala. The first case. But now you can imagine, now as of February 11th, we had 9 cases.
Wow.
But now there are 6.
I think we should let people know that you can reach out to the Ministry of Health and easily. We hinted very shortly on the hotlines. Yes. But there is a particular hotline that you can do. First of all, when you go to the Ministry of Health's website, immediately there is a message that pops out, and it says that, hi there, we are currently either offline or online, but now, for example, for right now they are offline, and they are saying we are currently offline, but if you need any assistance, feel free to ask. We will reply as soon as possible. Ugandans should know some of these things. That smartphone you're holding can save you, and it can save your neighbor. But there is also a hotline. If we can read it out, maybe there's someone who is there and they can reach out. It is 080 08, and they are all toll free. Yes, toll free. 0800 100 066. 0800 100 066. It's very important for you to know that also. There are call centers that have been put up specifically for the generally helping in the Ministry of Health's dissemination of information from the local person to. So now when you make such a call, it is transferred. You see how you call, that way you go and call a customer care. And then they say that we are transferring you to so that we work kanyogeri, then omulala nakuba, so that they avoid the jamming,
the trafficking.
So it's okay. We can
in the same light, how would you advise an individual to handle in case they are in their community, maybe in Chana Mukaka there, and they want to protect their communities and family? How would you advise them to handle themselves and not infect the rest of the people?
Okay, handling themselves, number one, is for you, we've been talking about listening to our bodies. When you take care of yourself, gweke nyini ngo omuntu, bwowuliriza omubiri gwo ne gukugamba nti no, it is weak, don't take it lightly. Immediately go to a health center. A health center which is a government facility. Eja kuyamba abalala bonna bewandi infectinze okuba nti no obavaamu. So when you get there and the health center gets to know that this one has come, they can isolate you and further treatment is carried on, and even take you to the right and proper facilities. So it is very important for us also as individuals who abadde ayogera ekintu ekyamaanyi ng'agamba nti no oyinza okiwulira ate gwe n'ogamba they'll discriminate me najja kunvaamu n'osirika tosirika. You go for help, go to a health center so that you can get help. And also to kubeera careful as Ugandans, more so as people in the city center in Kampala. Why? Because cases ezisinga bulijjo zibaddewo zibadde up countries, zibadde Mbarara, zibadde Masindi, zibadde Gulu and so Bundi Bujo. So tetubadde nnyo na cases. So normally gundi epidemics zino bwe zitera okujja, we tend to think ebibeera up country for one central tuli safe. Naye kakati the first case was actually found out here in the central. Kitegeeza olina okubeera careful ate bw'obanga otandise okufuna symptoms ezo va mu bintu ebyo nti actually go to a health center immediately.
And you know the population in Kampala on a day it's up close to 10 million, and in the night it's close to 8 million.
In the night, yes. But me what I would look at is this. You know, we've talked about stigma, but let's get back to habits. Remember when COVID came, how they would tell us to? You know, still now there are people, they just just like that. You don't even try to cover up. I remember this thing, etambulira through fluids. It's a virus. Junior tumeseza what a virus is, etambulira mu mpewo. Wetyamudde, and someone is close to you.
And you're not home.
You remember what you did to me? I did that doesn't push away the virus. But even when you're wolabanga or you know those big flus and what, because you don't know, you may not even know what you're carrying. Try to keep up with, have a hanky. Don't handshake, by the way, during this epidemic. Don't handshake people.
On a later note, olaba kino ekintu Angel. Waliwo abantu abalala bannaabwe nga bataddeko mask ne bagamba oyo tasonyiwanga
ambaye bakuvuma, like some people here, when they see you, they feel like you're showing off.
Let's take a turn on the right.
Okay.
Because Stuart mentioned of the subsequent outbreaks of Ebola that have been happening over the years, but I've been wondering, how come at this point we haven't yet got a vaccine for these viruses?
Well, getting a vaccine.
A vaccine for Ebola.
For Ebola, yes.
I guess the vaccine for Ebola, it's a bit tricky. It's not the way COVID was, that it was mostly airborne. Now, the mere fact that this is transferred through fluids, it's transferred through, and so it's highly contagious. So I guess of course they are doing this.
And animals.
Yes, and also for the fact that it's transferable with animals. So chichifuka a bit hard or call a vaccine solo than the way it was with COVID, I think.
But I'm sure that the health ministry, they're doing their best to get a vaccine.
By the way, there is an overview, and it says that there is a virus, there is a vaccine for Ebola, but it's not widely available because of so many issues.
It's inadequate.
Yes, it's inadequate, just like we have mentioned. It's inadequate. But you know, every time there is a disease, a new disease that comes up, there is research that is supposed to be done, and doctors take time to now understand, and they are in the labs working, so it takes some good time. Even when something like a vaccine comes out, before it is fully rolled out, it has to be tested.
Yes.
And usually it is tested, yes, and tried on animals. Yes, so that they can see how are they reacting. And now in the case of Uganda and Africa, it is usually tested on the animals because they also are affected, they even spread. Now for the case of Ebola, we have seen because we are nearer the animals and the animals are within. So because of that, the Ebola epidemic is spreading. So the vaccine, once it comes out, it is tested on these animals to see the reaction. So katubagenda rolling out slowly by slowly. So I think that it is still in process. Maybe that's why there is no much.
There is actually one called Evabo. RVSVZEVBOV. It's called Evabo. It was the first Ebola vaccine from the Food Drug Administration, and it was rolled out in December 2019. It's a single dose vaccine that it has been proven to be effective, but as the case is, the nature of the disease makes it tricky. As I said earlier, it makes it tricky for the effectiveness of the vaccine. And of course there is also one called Zabdemno or Mabea, and it's a 2-dose vaccine by Johnson & Johnson.
Johnson and Johnson. We heard about it.
Every time they mention Johnson and Johnson,
Johnson and Johnson is a company that also deals in pharmaceuticals. So it produces a number of.
There is something I want maybe to comment on this. The perception that we receive, not really COVID, but vaccines, because we have seen that in the past, vaccines are brought and tested in Africa, and because of the scare and the fear, people are resistant. Now, because now you can imagine there is a vaccine, but have you had it on the charts, on the immunization charts?
Not at all.
It has not even been, because we've been told go for the influenza vaccine. The vaccine is safe. So when some of these vaccines are rolled out, and maybe we are not really educated on the matter or on the seriousness of the vaccine, or if it is safe, the way we perceive it as Africans.
And also the problem why you've not seen it on the charts is because its protection time has not yet been discovered. Like the way you'll know that this vaccine will ejakola for a banga bweriti. A banga bweriti nti it will take you a full year of protection from Ebola has not been understood yet. That's why it has not been so much distributed, because kati obeera toli sure
is it the reason why it keeps recurring?
To do it.
anti kati gundi like protection time of the vaccine they are not certain. Okitegeera, so it makes it hard for people trying to cap the virus okukuba empisa eyo nga tebamanyi na egenda kuprotectinga banga ki. Yeah, so it still goes back to the nature of the virus.
I love the aspect.
And also the number of the variants that have been happening, the Sudan, the Zaire. So the two vaccines that I mentioned earlier, the Everbo and Zebdimo, zali on the Zaire virus. And now Oinabondo, another Sudan variant. Yes.
So I think these viruses also have those that are stronger than others. So I think that's why they're given different names for purposes of identity. But let's flip the page a little bit in terms of the misconceptions and myths that people have towards Ebola. The other day I was having a conversation. You know, I work really closely with Uganda Red Cross in terms of consultation and some community-based initiatives. So I was having a conversation with a gentleman in the community, and he said, by the way, for me, I thought when you take alcohol, the Ebola is going to just disappear from the body. Have you guys heard of any similar myths?
Yes, just like the COVID. I don't know if it was because it works. And actually in COVID I had someone who took sanitizer. Yes, and it worked.
Did it work?
No, you're misleading people.
It didn't.
Please don't take sanitizer.
Okay, myth number one. Myth number one is that Ebola is highly contagious.
Isn't it?
It is.
Actually, the fact is, Ebola is not just the way you see flu, but it's with direct contact and fluids. Direct contact, handshakes, fluids, sweat, semen, all these things. Yes.
You mean also sex, through sex?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
then it's highly contagious.
And it's not airborne. It's not.
It cannot be transmitted through air.
The way COVID was contact. Yes. Fact number 3.
That talk about the traditional remedies.
The traditional remedies, of course, akawaraji. People will think if you take waraji, it will ban the virus.
There are other traditional remedies. Akakola tekawonya bana Ebola. Gende babakebere akakola doesn't cure.
And in that same light, I'm loving the discussion that we are having in house, and also Stuart had mentioned something really key on those myths. Suzavi, could you have heard of any? Because someone maybe would say, maybe if I put on some makeup, I would cover the rashes, you know.
By the way, talk about makeup. Where is the rash going to be? The rash can attack you anywhere.
You know, there's something you mentioned about intimacy or sex. I was speaking to this gentleman. He's called Dr. Praise Tayewa. He's in Uganda Red Cross, and he said when someone has one of these epidemic viruses or cases, they take close to a year to heal. I mean, if, for example, let me just flip the page a little to Mpox. If you've been investigated and examined with Mpox, it will take close to a year for you to heal. And if you're to have maybe intimacy or sex, you're supposed to use a condom to protect your partner, because the virus keeps dying month after month. It doesn't disappear.
But me then I would assume you would rather not, because I mean, in sex people sweat.
For 1 year?
No, to do it.
No,
not to do
one
it.
full year, Susie, you're on recovery. So someone needs to understand that you're in recovery.
Auntie, like, don't do it, because it's a fluid thing.
But Susie, people's bodies can't be the same.
They're better. Because people sweat. People sweat.
Susan.
Stuart, what would be
rather not have sex?
A full year, 12 months?
Yes. If you really love your partner, because it goes through sweat, not just semen.
Yeah?
So, or protecting us and getting a sweater.
I think that is why bemubanga muzudde omuntu aina cases or symptoms that were mentioned earlier, isolate them much as they are your husband.
Even for a year, right?
Yeah. Isolate them because this is your health and we're talking about public health. We are talking about public health. Kubanga, this is a disease, this is a virus that can kill the whole community.
Exactly. Not just the community.
The whole community. So please, we don't want to have the cases that we had in 2001 and 2000.
You know, Angel seems to be advocating for those that have sex.
I'm not.
You can abstain.
It is, you know, my lecturer told me at university that if you haven't had sex, leave it. If you've had it,
you get addicted. Yeah,
you get addicted. But for this case, in terms of public health, what he was trying to tell me was, yes, after being treated, the test will show that you're negative because you're in a recovery mode. But at that point, it has not completely gone because the test is showing that you're negative. But 1 full year, you still have it. So he recommended to use those protective.
But did he talk about the sweat bit?
No,
people sweat when they're having sex.
Unless let's leave the sex alone and get to maybe some recommendations we could probably give the Ministry of Health and people out there to always stay on the lookout, looking at the past history of these different epidemic outbreaks that we have had over the years.
Well, I think when it comes to the health ministry, would like more sensitization.
And even I think first to appreciate them.
Yes. We do really appreciate, because you know when those epidemics break out, people can easily know. I mean, so more sensitization would help
Susie,
us.
on that same note, I love how Dr. Diana, Ministry of Health, came out and told, even this one case, she spoke and said, hey, we have this virus here, we need to be on the lookout. And probably she would have taken it for granted, but she came out and spoke and lightly. So I love that aggression and
of course, this is something that you cannot take lightly, much as you already have one case.
You know, Stuart, there are some African countries that say,
they believe by
but the mere fact that you've had one case, it's possible that you'll have 10 more. You'll have 100 more cases. So you better curb it the way she did. And we really want to commend the Ministry of Health, Dr. Atwine, is it?
Yes.
Dr. Atwine, the Disease Control Center, Infectious Diseases Center, and organizations that like the Red Cross. We really want to commend you on what you're doing, but also the public, as the citizens, abantu baffe, please, when you start noticing such symptoms, when you start noticing omuntu akaaba omusujja nga teguggwa, muwadde eddagala ly'omusujja teguwona, omuntu ayinza okuba nga alina Ebola, naddala abazadde abaana baffe bagenda ku masomero bamiitinga abantu ab'enjawulo. Please and please, omwana bw'atandika okugamba nti mpulira omusujja, tosooka kulowooza nti it's just musujja oba kwekoza what. Probably it could be a symptom of Ebola. Omwana bw'otandika okumulira ng'agamba nti bannange mpulira omubiri gunnuma, mpulira muscles zonna zinnuma, ninga bwe bakubye emiggo, esobola okubeera symptoms.
But in that same case, I love, Stuart, what you have mentioned, because I believe they have mastered. By the time they confirm one case, while you are a potential suspect.
No, Abela against that tambula. Yes, and most times they're staying with certain people. Then we say that it's very hard to even trace where they're passing and what they have done when they're passing there.
Wow. GSC, you have something to
well, it is to the community to look out, to be vigilant and understand that this spreads and it is here. The Ebola, the Mpox, they are all here with us, and it is very important for us to know that they are spread. They can spread. Yes, they may not spread through air, but they are spread through fluids. So be vigilant and look out for the people that have been infected. And if they've been infected, report or give that assistance. At least call a medical doctor. Yeah, jakujane gloves or a mask. batandikira
There is
omuntu
a way they
bamufulumye,
dress.
they will find a way
Ate-
of taking that person out.
I tell that to our communities, please adhere to the guidelines Ministry of Health then are releasing.
Yeah.
Bakugamba nti bannaye temukwata abantu mu ngalo, don't hug, keep some distance. Please adhere, because at the end of the day, the only way we can build this nation is when we are alive. So please adhere to the guidelines that will be communicated. Yes.
Of course, in the same light, I also think children need to be protected.
Yes.
Because they're very, very vulnerable. You know, especially those whole households that have 8, 10 people, you know.
They all work in different places.
I know of actually a slum area where there is one household. I think I even cannot measure the cubicle, but there are almost like 11 people that sleep in that house. And I'm like, well, we still have a long way to go as a country. No, you imagine that if one person gets it in that household, I mean, all of them are going to get it.
But in that line, in that same line and spirit, the schools, that means schools should be very, very vigilant, especially when they notice that this one pupil or student has started exhibiting these signs and symptoms, especially body weakness.
Yes.
Because body weakness is it's the first stage.
Yes.
So ate tolowoleza mwana kirabika senyega senyega katandise ate nno omwana alwala nnyo senyega no tetulowoleza baana bw'olaba nga teacher omwana abaana batandise okwebakiriza, they are not lively, take note, call their parent, insist that the parent takes them to hospital.
Yeah.
Or if there is a dispensary, batwale mu dispensary ku ssomero awo, so that they can immediately get at least the first aid as you contact their parents, and then their parents can take them for better medication. But the schools should also really be vigilant, because we were talking about the things that we overlook as Ugandans. Netulowooza no, ebyo bya Ministry of Health bwe baba baagala tulookinga down batandise no. Let us not get into that direction and take such things very seriously.
Wow. Any closing remarks from you, Stuart?
And also, this is a request to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, Infectious Disease Institute, and the Ministry of Health. Tuongereko ku response, like ku response time yaffe in case waliwo a call oba wabaddewo olugambo nti omuntu ono nayinza okuba nga ayina Ebola. I think twetaaga some swiftness the way it has been done earlier, so that ate kati cases zino ze tuyina tezescalatinga nnyo. Yes.
Yeah, just to get back to you, G, just outlines for people to safeguard, just outlines. No handshakes and no sharing.
Yes, we have talked about all these things, and there are smaller symptoms, not smaller, but because that is the beginning, we have said that the symptoms starts showing between 2 to 12 days.
2 to 7 days.
Yes, 2 to 7 days, and it can extend. By the time you get to 12 days, you're really having the wet symptoms. Now, don't wait for the wet symptoms.
Those are fluids, related to fluids.
Exactly, because the beginning part is the dry symptoms, which have headache, fevers, some bit of irritations, body weakness, and all these things. So when the moment you notice that you are not feeling fine, otandise okuwulira nga amaanyi gagenderera tobitegeera ate nga you're sure toyina senyega, please genda onoonye omusawo omukugu, health center. Go to a health center. The government of Uganda has really tried to put up health centers, and ziri mu mitendera, health center 1, 2, 3, and all those. So go to any government facility and seek for help.
Wow, thank you so much, G. Thank you, Stuart. Well, let's hear from that is Susie, the rich babe. I'm not rich, but you tell us you're rich.
No, I'm happy because you can recognize it.
You know, Stuart loves letting us know of the most updated news coming in, but I think you'd be that person who says, Nzendiwa Arsenal, Ndiwa Manchester United.
Well, actually, I'll add on what Jen has said. Let it start with us. Be your own responsibility. Take care of yourself. Yes, we know now the outbreak is out here, and you may not know who has the disease. So you as a person, we made him. If we say that no handshaking, don't. Because at the end of the day, the effects are coming back to you. Say that this thing takes 1 year, really, 1 year. If they're to put you in quarantine for 1 year, like you're going to be behind. After 1 year, so try to protect yourself. Protect yourself. Make sure you avoid all the things that are going to lead to the disease. If you notice that a neighbor has that infection or looks like, talk to them. Some of them don't even know. Yes, they have been sensitizing, but some people don't know what to do. So if you carry the knowledge, share it. Be your own responsibility. You care for yourself. Don't let anybody try to lie to you. Yes, if you feel like putting on a mask is okay, go for it. Don't hold to wait. Take care of yourself. Yeah.
Wow, I love the direction that we have had today, especially for communities, individuals, and you have seen World Health Organization coming out and saying, hey, you guys, we need to make sure that we are safe, or probably to put a travel impose directive for us to make sure that we are safe. But well, let's be on the outlook against this virus of Ebola. We also know that Mpox is silently creeping in very many homes and communities. If you know anybody that is sick or somebody that has not yet received medical attention, make sure that they are getting the health care that they need to. Don't take anything for granted. We have mentioned the signs, we have mentioned symptoms you need to look out for, and also to break any kind of myths that could be related in terms of this particular virus. So let's stay on the outlook, keep the children also checking their health so that they are well, and also ensure that you as a person stay away from things like handshakes, sharing body clothes with people, and also Susie.
No sex.
For those that are infected.
How do I know that you're not?
By the way, people have realized that there is a mindset that when you have this virus or any virus, you should be isolated. But I also think people should be helped emotionally and psychologically to get out of this. But Susie, don't look at me in terms of the aspect. But well, it's the Sunrise Show. Thank you for watching us, and I'm very delighted that today you have learned a lot. Let's stay on the outlook. You know, the week is still young, but be very intentional. People are quietly out there, and we don't want you to be the next suspect or the next victim. Byonna tebikugambye tugamba nti tetukugambye. Era webale kubanga wekumira ku Promise Television, the Sunrise Show, twagala kubanga tukwebaliza ddala. Kakasa nti otugoberera ku mitimbagano gyaffe egy'enjawulo. That is Promise TV UG on X, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. Neyo number etambula ku screen osobola kubanga okikozesa to let us know any feedback, comment, or any message that you have for us. From us to you, we want to say bye-bye till we meet tomorrow. It will be a wonderful Wednesday.
See you.
Welcome to the Sunrise Show. My name is Angel Walker. Erectile